Hey there. So let's talk about one of the coolest things you can do with SQL. We're going to take these huge piles of data and boil them down into something that actually makes sense. Ready to dive in?
Okay, so you've got all this data, right? Could be thousands of rows, could be millions. But what do you do with it? How do you find the story hiding inside? Well, that's exactly what we're going to tackle. You're about to learn a skill that lets you ask questions and get answers from your data, like instantly.
Take a look at this. It's a pretty standard employee table. You've got your IDs, names, salaries, department numbers, all the good stuff. But honestly, just looking at it like this, it's a lot. It's just a giant wall of text. Trying to figure out, say, which department has the most people or what the average salary is? Good luck. You'd be scrolling for days. And this right here is what we're calling the data overload problem. Having a ton of data feels like it should be a good thing, but when it's raw like this, it's mostly just noise. Our whole goal is to cut through that noise and find the actual signal, the important stuff. So let's get real. If I asked you right now, based on that last table, how many people are in sales? What about engineering? What's the company's average salary? You can't just see the answers, right? You'd have to start counting and doing math. It's not about just looking at data. It's about calculating something from it.
And this is where SQL comes in to save the day with a killer 1-2 punch, grouping and aggregation. First, we group the data to get it organized. Then we aggregate it to do the math. Let's see how this magic actually works.
All right, first up, counting things with group by. This is probably the number one thing you're going to use this for. We're going to answer that first question. How many employees are in each department? So the key command here is group by. I want you to think of it like this. You've got a massive, messy pile of Legos on the floor. Group by is the instruction that says, okay, put all the red ones here, all the blue ones over there, and all the yellow ones in this other pile. It's literally just sorting your data into nice, neat buckets. Okay, so how do we actually write this in code? Let's build it up. First, we say select depth ID. This is us telling SQL what our buckets are going to be based on. Then, from employees, pretty simple. That's just the table we're getting the data from. And now for the magic ingredient, group by depth ID. This is the command that actually does the sorting, creating a unique pile for every single department. Awesome, so our data is all sorted into department buckets. But how many employees are in each bucket? That's where our first aggregation function comes in, count star. And it does exactly what it sounds like. It just counts the number of things, in this case, rows or employees, inside every single one of our buckets. Super simple, super powerful. And here it is, the whole shebang. Let's just read it out loud like a sentence in English. Hey SQL, show me the department ID and the count for each one from the employees table, and make sure you group everything by department first. See? It actually reads like a logical instruction. And bam, look at that. All that chaos from before is now this beautiful, simple, easy-to-read summary. We can see in a split second that Department 1 has 5 people, Department 2 has 3, no more guessing, no more scrolling. We ask our data a question, and it gave us a straight answer. How cool is that? But wait, there's more. Counting is awesome, but it's just scratching the surface. SQL has a whole bag of tricks, other functions that let us ask even smarter questions. So what about that other question, the one about the average salary? Well, for that, there's a function called AVG. You literally just point it at the salary column, and it does all the heavy lifting for you. I mean, imagine you had to do this by hand. You'd take these 3 salaries, add them all up, then divide by 3. But with SQL, you just type AVG salary, hit enter, and boom, 40,000. It doesn't care if it's 3 salaries or 3 million. The answer comes back just as fast. No calculator, no spreadsheets, nothing. And the list goes on. You've got sum to get totals, like what's the entire payroll for the company. You have max to find the highest salary, and min to find the lowest. These 5 functions, count, average, sum, max, and min, they are the bread and butter of data analysis. You will use them all the time. So let's take a step back. What have we actually done here? This isn't just about learning a few commands. This is like unlocking a new superpower. You've officially gone from someone who just looks at data to someone who can interrogate it. And really, this is the whole point. Aggregation is that magic bridge between a messy spreadsheet and a powerful insight.
It's how you turn all that raw data into something you can actually use to make decisions.
And this isn't just for employee tables, right? Think about it. You can now figure out total sales for every single region, or the average grade for every class in a school, or how many people are on every single team in your company. These are the kinds of real questions that businesses need answers to every single day. And now you know how to get them.
So there you have it. You've taken your first huge step from just reading data to truly understanding it. But what happens when you need to change the data? Update a record or maybe even delete one. That's a whole other level of power, and you have to be careful. In our next explainer, we're going to get into exactly that, how to safely update and delete records. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Talk to you then.